Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to make this video more about, uh, finding out kind of can you tell what a stock's going to do? So, Plague, PLAG, Planet Green. That was a big. Everybody's talking about it for about 5 minutes. But look what it did. It did a 1-2, 1-2, and then it squoze, right? So it did kind of two waves, and then it had a big pullback, and then boom. Where's AMC? It did a 1-2, 1-2. We just had our big pullback. So how do you figure what a stock's going to do, or what it could do, right? Is there a way to? Yeah, there's exact way. It's very simple. You measure from the high to the low, low to the high, whatever, and use trend-based fib extension, and then take the last pullback. Hit the 3618 on the nose, and then gave way. Any stock can do that on a big rally, come all the way back. This was the measured move, like target. Like it's just a natural fib target that, like if it just retraces and consolidates and it starts climbing, it would have come from here from 54 cents to $1.05, and then it could have like bull flagged and climbed up to the 1618. It could have done a slow climb, but what did it do? I told everybody, why are you so surprised when something does? The stock A never has volume. Never. Look, it's never had volume. It's pathetic. So it's probably a pump and dump for the most part, right? But yeah, all of a sudden one day it trades like, a trillion shares or whatever it did, right? So yeah, it's not going to hold. See, at least AMC has volume structure that's going to hold some of the gains. But on an instance like this, you're getting a year, 5 years worth of volume, and you're doing 5 years worth of trading all in 3 hours, basically, right? So you broke the 200-day, and then the machines kicked in, it squoze a little bit, and that was it. 1,000% up one day. What else do you ask for if you're holding the stock, right? You take your profits, right? So what I do, I took from the low, and then verified it had a 1-2, 1-2, and then it made a final low. So I took the measurement from the final low, and it did a 3618 rally. That's it. So it pulled all the way back. It launched above this targeted zone. So yeah, that's just a number that look how that played out too, the 105. Just naturally like a fib target. Like if you're down here and you have a good rally, you could go to $1. Or you could go to 161, you go to 2618, or you go to 3618, or you're in a huge rally, you go to 423, right? So let's convert that to AMC talk, right? Let's take out all the madness and all these people saying, "Oh man, maybe I could go to $2." No, okay. So what did we have? We had a 1-2, 1-2, and then tried to rally and then pull back, right? So this is our final pullback, right? No, it was here. Boom. This is structure after the pullback. It's a launch pad. Okay, this is what you call a launch pad. So sometimes when a stock disconnects from its first trend, and this is something most people won't even understand at all, but it had this trend going, right? And then you got diluted, so it disconnected. There's a gap here. People are like, do we need to fill this gap or that gap? Nope. That's an impulse wave down. That's an impulse wave back up. Don't have to fill impulse gaps. You probably never will. Now, if it's an exhaustion gap, yes. Or if it's a down gap on a different thing like this down gap we filled and then we came back. Guess where we pulled back to? Nobody ever mentioned that either right to the middle of the gap. Anyway, guys, today our weekly bull bear pivot was 255. I mentioned that in some of the last videos. That's where we're kind of stalling, and then plus we go green on the week at 258. So I mentioned that number today. We tagged right on it. Yeah, bears want to defend that. You get over 258 and you're green on the week, you're going to extend for the week, right? So just real quick to pull this, but what I was saying about this being its own, this is like called a new uptrend, right? When you're going in an uptrend and you like break away from it and then you just start. So this is probably going to be what ends up being your parabolic trend. So you don't have to match trend lines anymore on this trend. Like I know people were probably nerding out and they're going, oh, okay. Yeah, because you broke away from the original trend. People are probably nerding out saying, look, you can go down here to hit this trend line at $1.94 or 202, and then it can go. No, as soon as you gapped away from that, it became its own trend, like a new. You could call that all new uptrend. You could call it parabolic wave, whatever you want to call it. But so far from that, it started a steeper uptrend, correct? So now you start over since it broke away from the first structure. And these are little things that people will never get in their whole life. And you could tell them 100 times. And me, I forget them all the time. But you could say it started like a new uptrend, right? It's steeper, much steeper than the one I just showed you. So this is probably a parabolic channel. That's why nobody was expecting this to turn around right here, right? Because now it's proved a much steeper. So if it's got a steeper uptrend, by the way, guys, these aren't rallies. Rallies for AMC in the history are multiple dollar updates, $10 updates, $20 updates, $5 updates, $2 updates, 10-cent little candles. These are not rally. This is all compression, guys. A rally day would be like from $1.62 to $2.94 for AMC in one candle. That's like a normal rally day. So, like, if you just want me to plot out and say, well, what would rally days look like? Here, give me a sec. I'll put you on pause and I'll show you. All right. So, remember, I told you, I hope the volume's not too loud, but I told you that you take you have the 1, 2, the 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's your measurement for the rally. So I took the trend-based fib extension. I ran it up to where it fits, guys, like 290. Let me get rid of this line. I don't know what that's doing. 290, right? And look how the price action has honored the fib, the 216. It's honored that 0.5 pullback area. So it's honored everything, right? So now we've got a steep uptrend. We've got a breakout line right in front of our face, 290-ish. And we've got fib extensions. So remember I told you just on, what was that little stock? It went from 50 cents to 680, that little PLAT, right? Well, it just did what, a 2618? So AMC could do it 32, right? Based on this same measurement. 1, 2, 1, 2. Except it didn't rip here. It actually decided to build structure. So now, instead of breaking out, because that would have lowered your breakout would have been kind of like 215. Now your breakout's up to 290. So that does extend the rally, but you had to wait another month, right? It'll extend your extension a little bit. But if you go to, remember that 514 was a number, right? So what happens here? Whatever you do, you go to $10 on a 1618. You go to $32 on a 2618 rally. You go in between. I believe AMC likes to go between 2618 and 3618, but that will put us at $61, guys. So that's what a rally would look like. See these sticks? That's like a basic rally. So AMC like to go 1, 2, and then gap up, and then end up back down here at 514. So just like the other chart I showed you, where did the stock end back up? Right here. We round tripped right to that suggested fib move, right? So it went all the way up top and then boom, right back to 514 for this stock. So if I go look at Flag, let's look again. So same thing, took this, you went all the way up here on 2 waves, remember 1, 2, 1, 2, and then take the pullback. And then it gave you it. Oh, that was a 3618. So, and then you ended up right down here at that fib move, 105, basically, right? Where are you today? 120? Well, just know that can be a magnet, 105 on this stock. And then if I go back to AMC, let's look at 3618. Whoa, yeah, so 3618 would be 102. If we did what Flag just did on the same, we're taking the top of the trend and measuring it to the last pullback. That's all you're doing. Go to roughly the top of the trend, or where you see the top. I see it around 290, 292. I put it at the first top of this first peak, from the bottom to the first peak on the trend-based fib extension, and then pulled it down to 161, that last pullback, right? That big pullback. And then it gives me my number. It's that simple, right? So as far as could you have just launched from here? Sure. I'm saying before. That's normally where you squeeze. Plus with the 200 right there, you could have squeezed right there. With AMC, did it need more structure? Maybe need some more news? Need more coiling? Yeah, again, the coiling on that just went higher. The last few days we went in. So on the coiling measurements, remember guys, I have something like $21. So that's just measuring the coiling. It doesn't mean anything. That's just an idea that how this wind up works is that it unravels like a slinky. All this winding up unravels straight up. That's why it's called coiling. So you can literally, if I could just grab this and stretch it, I wish they had a feature where you could stretch this out as a straight line and put it up here. That's probably where you're going. It's just another way to kind of measure it by percentages. But that would be pretty cool if I could just take this and stretch it out and line it up here. But that's kind of what, you could, in a sense, with a line, you could kind of take an idea and say, well, if we went this much sideways and I just move that line up, it comes up to like, $8. Well, that's how you also take like, this is a kind of a way to do it. It doesn't match all that coiling though, but this is a bottom base. It's just a bottom base. Call it head and shoulders, you can call it whatever you want. Just a bottom, guys. Once you break through the bottom here at 3, that's when you make your first move. So if you measure this as a normal measured move, the same amount you go under, you go over, right? So that puts you at $10, $9.80 to $10.40 or something like that, right? So, but it's not. You could say it's. Everybody wants to always call something and make a pattern. No, this is This is a huge base. It's a bottom, and you're coiling into the breakout. That's all you need to know, and you're almost there. You're gonna go straight up. You're gonna do those real rally days that you've been wanting, and you probably just gonna do a couple. And it's gonna be over before you know it. It could all happen in the morning, just like Plague. So say you did something like this. And say just that third day, so you got up to 10 here, which is that center trend line. And say you just like opened up here, like AMC loves to gap up at 47. It's done that crap, guys. It's opened 400% higher. So why wouldn't you, if you got to 1180 or 12, why wouldn't you just open at 48, 45? You could. AMC's history has that going on, guys, just so you know. It's gapped up 400%. It's gapped up just in 2024. It closed at 6 and opened at 12, or closed at 550, I think, or something. Opened at 12 the next day. So yeah, that's its history. Now, I think those are bull traps, right? Because then it sells right straight down after. So if you're really a short and AMC goes, say you're short and your average is, I think on record, the most short interest is at 792 overall average. I think recently it's something like, they probably have I think last time I checked it was a 316 average, and some were below like 290. So today they're kind of sweating. But I think overall, like the history of the stock, the converts are at $7 and $5. I think most shorts would be in the 5 to 7 range. Long-term short, like bondholders. They short the stock, by the way, bondholders, because they know they have converts, so they're hedging their converts. So anyway, they know it's probably whatever it does, it's going to come back down to 5, right? So they know that theory. They know how this works. They know they got converts at 5 and 7. So say it does go way up here and just whap, the next day or something, it's down at 5, or it tags that. Boom, it bounces and tags above that. That's totally likely, guys. You just saw on play. This happens every day. on these big squeezes, they lose 90% of the gains. So if we literally just go pop up one morning, say we do it by 9 a.m. tomorrow, we go to $40. What are you going to do? You're going to just trim all the way up? That's what I would do. But yeah, you never know. I've seen stock. What stock was that? BMNR or whatever. That Tom Lee stock went for $5 to like 100 and like I don't know, a couple hours, and then it crashed, and now it's worth nothing. But yeah, that would be kind of. Do you call it a dead cat bounce? Do you call it's just rally, guys? And depending how it turns out, you decide if you want to re-enter the stock again. So yeah, I mean, like this stock, I wouldn't re-enter it. It has no volume structure. It means nobody owns the stock in any. I can't tell what levels they own it at. If it's even just a computer making these marks on a screen, or if it's actual traders. I've never heard of the company. I would never touch a stock like this, even if I got lucky and it went up 1,000%. Of course, I would be out. If it went up 40 cents while I was in it, I would get out. I don't know the stock, but I do know the structure of AMC. I do know the levels, and I do know we could do the exact same thing and then end up right back here at this number. Let's just look at. Let's call that first base, right? Number one, first base, right? So first base on AMC is 514. It's right down the middle too. I just realized that matches my center line perfect. So I've got this broadening pattern here, guys, and I need myself a minimum break of kind of. I'd like to see 1485 myself, and then there's a gap right overhead around 20, 1920. But yeah, just to complete this broadening pattern, see how we broke below it? I would just like to see the break above to at least 2021. And then I'll take a pullback. But all this other stuff, you don't always have to go right to 1618. You actually probably on AMC, you might just pierce 1618, but violently, and then break this channel. Say you end up below 1041 at the end of the week, right? So say tomorrow we rally to 6, and then say Friday we rally to 9, and then Monday we gap up to like $23 and sell off, right? So what do you call that? Well, you just you rallied, and then say by next Friday we're below this 1041, the 1618. Then at the end of the week, it's going to look like you just failed the 1618. That like you just honored that, right? You rallied above it, but then you rejected, right? So that's what I would expect, something like that, at least over the 1618 at 1041. How far over we go? Well, you got the 200 week moving average at 1370, and you could easily pierce that. So you've got my broadening channel here at 14, so you can easily pierce that. So if you pierce that and that, why don't you just go fill the gap at 19, right? So yeah, that's kind of the way I like to look at things. Is just look at them. Whatever you do, as high as you go, you'll probably end up back here on base number one. And believe it or not, even if you go to 100, even if you go to 20, even if you go to 30, let's go look at that BMNR. By the way, let's look at that real quick. Let's see if we can do one of those target dealies, and then let's just see how crazy that rally was. You think I'm just talking out my bone? This is a daily chart, guys, and it went from, where was that? $5 to 33 in one day. And then within this frame of 1, 2, 3, 4 days, it went to 100 and whatever, 60. So from $5 to 160 in 4 days. So let's see if we can make some sense out of that. Okay, guys? This is the whole thing. This is why I have a membership zone. This is why I know like a lot of people won't get it. So we're going to take the top of the rally, right? Remember that 1, 2, 1, 2, and then pull back, right? So we're going to take the top of the structure. We're going to take that pull back to here. And what do you get, guys? Look at that. Why do the fibs work on that? Because you did a 1, 2, 1, 2. You could say a 1, wait, a 1, 2, yeah, big 1, 2. Very similar to what AMC just did. We left this candle way up here, but now we're back up here. But we haven't like ran yet. So they're just delaying the run, whatever is going on, working through inventory. But the same thing. You take the tip of this kind of 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you take the bottom pullback, and then you look at what? Where's home base on this one? $43. What'd you do? You went up to 158 or whatever, and boom, what's the first thing you came back to? That number 1 at 43. And then you failed it. And let's drag this over, and let's see how it played out. This is all real live stuff. This is how you really, and look what it did. It's walking down the fibs. Boom, boom, boom. So when it gets down to the 0.5 pullback at 1329, what did it do? Well, it bounced. And now it's trying to hold the 0.618. It's 1769. So if it can hold that at base and get back through the 200, you could do something. But Bitcoin's dead, and I believe they just own Bitcoin. The MACD is kind of rolling over here on the daily, so maybe it just goes sideways. So when the MACD rolls over, guys, and it's in positive territory, it could just mean consolidation. Doesn't have to mean pullback. When the MACD rolls over and it goes negative like this, that's rather bearish, right? That usually means you're starting a downtrend. So how low you go is how powerful the downtrend is going to be. So then you start trying to climb out of this negative territory. And you can see as you're climbing out of the negative territory, the stock is kind of firming up. And then you try to break positive and you fail. So you make one more low and then you get positive, right? And then you come off that low and then you want to like go sideways here. Like you can roll over, you can go a little negative, and the price should hold if you're starting to go bullish, right? So once you're to this level, the MACD isn't as important as long as you're positive, right? And you can see from the histogram, it's about to go negative, and maybe the price, maybe you double bottom, who knows? But yeah, that's another way to look at that. I know a lot of people are like, well, AMC's MACD is pointed straight down on the daily. Well, yeah, it is. Let's look at that. Yeah, it sure is, guys. Yeah, look at that. But it's well above the center line, guys. So it doesn't matter. And look at the prices going straight up today, and the MACD is pointed straight down. How about that, right? Yeah, nobody could understand that today. And I'm like, bro, AMC's broke out for the first time in history, or second time in history, on the weekly. So sometimes you got to ignore the daily charts. And the weekly MACD is above the center line for the first time since ever, second time ever. And it's pointed straight up still. I mean, not straight up, but it's trending up, right? You see that? So why am I going to be concerned about an uptrending MACD? And then the price, what is going on up there? Let's see here. Oh, those are my, yeah, I'm like, did we already do that? My candles. Yeah, you'll see these candles in a few days, most likely, I would think. So don't they look like they fit right in there, guys? Look over here, resistance. We went up to 442 and then went up to somewhere around 1083. I mean, those candles look perfect that I just put in. But those are rally candles, guys. That's what rallies look like. This is what coiling and consolidation looks like. And then boom, you break out. And you have a nice little run, whether it's 1, 3 days, whether it goes to 10 or 40. Who cares? Who cares? There's money to be made. If you can't make money when you go to 10, what if you just do both? You go to 10 to 40 and then back to 5. Can you wrap your mind out of how to make money on anything like that? I would tell you what, your most likely bet is that once it gets above this kind of center line here, this $10, then you probably have a huge gap up. So that probably ends the rally. Does it fill this gap up here? Maybe. Maybe you fill that gap, and then crap, But yeah, anything's possible, guys. You saw BMNR. It was sitting at $5. Went up to 160 in 4 days. Don't tell me how stocks. I mean, all these people are like, this thing's going to slow climb and it's going to go to $3 by December. You're high on crack. You're high on crack if you think the stock has never slow climbed, and whatever it's going to do, it'll probably do it in the next 3 to 5 days. Worst case, this could be 3 weeks. These could be weekly bars. Worst case, it could do this in 3 weeks, right? Did it do this all in 1 week? Did this in 2 days? Did it do this all in one? This was 3 weeks total. But you broke out and started squeezing. You're running for 3 weeks. We haven't even broke out yet. So yeah, worst case scenario, maybe get to 4 or 5s this week. I would say that would be on the low end. Maybe come up to the 786 and 403, or come to. But I think once you pass this 514, the center line, it's on. Whatever you're gonna do, you probably do it in a day or two after that. After 514. And then you probably come right back. You do a freaking round robin, rainbow, boomerang, right back to 514 most likely. Don't believe me? Try me. Have a good one, y'all.